We're together just recently in your district at the Stagland's Scientific Symposium, focused in on some of the challenges related to diseases and disorders of the human brain. This issue that you raised on the floor tonight is the most dominant challenge that we face in terms of a degenerative brain disease. It is not by accident that Prime Minister David Cameron, when leading the G7, said that dementia was the world's global challenge. It is not by accident that here in our own country we have created, through the great work of members like yourselves and others, a major focus now on Alzheimer's as one of the brand name dementias that has affected millions of Americans and will affect millions going forward. I've led an effort in the appropriations process focusing on the human brain, both mapping the brain and challenging and chasing cures and treatment for diseases. This neuroscience initiative, the Fattah Neuroscience Initiative, has been focused at the fact that these 600 diseases and plus of the brain affect over 50 million Americans. But there's none that's more costly than Alzheimer's, none that are affecting more families than Alzheimer's. And it's so important. We just had an incident the other day of a very prominent restaurant owner here in Washington who was said to have gone missing in New York City because she's suffering from this disease. I was happy to be at the launch of the Give to the Cure effort, which is an effort to build support so that the Valley of Death, as it is called in terms of major research that needs to go forward to clinical trials, working with my good friend Rafi Gideron from the Israeli Brain Technology and so many others. This morning I met with the new president of Caltech and talked about the efforts there at a great university in your state, and they received well over 10% of the initial awards in the Brain Initiative from NIH because of the leading research. And I've been in, some people think I may have some designs on retiring in California. I spent some time there now with Stanley Prusner, who's a Nobel laureate in neurology, was the first one working with people like Virginia Lee and John Trojanowski to begin to really understand the early formation of this disease and how it affects people. But I want to talk about just for a minute, and then I will yield, how this affects families. Not about the science of it, and there are significant scientific hurdles with over 100 billion neurons, tens of trillions of connections. We do not now know how the brains of human beings work, but we don't have a good understanding yet of how the brains of much smaller insects or animals actually function. This is a great scientific challenge. It is I think, the most important frontier for all of science to focus on, and that's why I'm so dedicated to it. But when it comes to families, and I heard you speak about your own, this is something that has a tremendous impact. And dementia is something that is going to, as people are healthier, their bodies are healthier, brains are degenerating, we're going to face more and more of this. We had a former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, talk about if we could just reverse for a few years the onset of Alzheimer's, it could save our country trillions of dollars. But put the dollars aside. What this is really about is valuing families and understanding that as much as science is something that we all take a great interest in, that what should focus us is to make sure that our scientific endeavors are focused on how to improve the life chances of the people who we represent. So the World Health Organization says there are 1 billion people worldwide. NIH says 50+ million Americans suffering from brain illnesses. We know that you have your finger on the pulse, Mr. Speaker, and I thank you for conducting this special order. I know that so many members want to participate. I want to yield now back my time, but you can count on us as we go forward to continue to work with you and to work with the pharmaceutical industry and work with our academic enterprises And we're going to have even more success going forward, not just in finding treatment, but we have to put as our goal finding a cure. So thank you, and I yield back.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Fattah, and thank you for your role on the Appropriation Committee, trying to move the money into this research so that we can address this. You mentioned the Staglins out in California and their project, which is the One Mind Project. Our former colleague, Mr. Kennedy, involved in that project, trying to pull together the research from around the world